I asked in the beginning, because I know a couple people have, it's so wild to say this, have read the book. That's the wildest thing on the whole planet. I know some people have read the book, so I asked for any requests. And oh my God, it's so wild that people have it. So I was taking any requests because I really wanted a really cozy, really like chill night. But all the requests are love poems and like heartbreak poems. So guess what, friends? We are about to get wrecked. Okay, that's how we're gonna do it tonight. And you know what? I'm gonna show up. For all of these heartbreak poems, I hope y'all are okay. I don't know what you're going through, but I support it. But I'm also gonna do a couple poems that I don't read out loud a lot because I don't know. I think they're like some unsung heroes in them. So yeah, I'm gonna start. I usually start by like doing a poem where I sing. I'm just not gonna do that tonight because I'm trying something different and I hope it works out because I know that poem's a banger, but I just hope you'll see that I myself am a banger. Hey, I hardly know her. All right. Being recorded is an interesting thing because you know this is gonna be here forever. Yeah, so this is the first poem in the book. It's Bionic Woman. Bionic woman, full moon, cloaked shadow, who are you without all these other hands? What are you made of when you go untouched? Wet moth, fluttering pussy, all metallic, silk hot, and electric honey, you natural mechanical thing. Built of so many parts, interlink coconut oiled nuts and bolts a stew. A limited mess, no warranty, just a pair of latex gloves and a speculum to test your open wounds, hot breath, pitted apple, outside skin, take the seeds that grew you, and what do you have? Cyanide. Are you still a living thing if all your insides beg for death? That's the first one. So that's a poem I don't read a lot. I don't have the book on me in person. I'm currently in a hotel room. So I am on like the file where I like worked on the book, which is very surreal. That's very exciting. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna keep going because I got some poems. This is one of my favorite ones. It's not a love poem, but I think all poems are love poems, as everyone knows. That's like a very intense perspective that I have personally. So yeah, I think the reason I feel that way is because I feel like you have to love something enough to write about it, even if it makes you mad. You love something enough to be mad about it. You love something enough to be sad about it. And so I think every poem is a love poem. And I also think that in your relationships, all your relationships kind of inform each other and inform you and how you operate. So yeah, this is called Learning to Pray after Kaveh Akbar. Prayer is a lighthouse the woman never visits. Only when drunk with the blood of another god does she bow her head against another prayer, weeps in the funeral pyre of her own womb, begs God for a better death. The woman's prayers are linen soaked in rum and honey, are my mother's constant scrubbing, her bellyache against the dinner table, her nerves, their incessant frying when the woman prays. Maman and I go looking for her cries. Find only a confessional. The woman's prayers are a sad occasion. A holiday that reeks with grief. The woman's prayers are a search party for herself, her father, his abandonment, a godless prayer, her own empty nesting. My mother scavenges to fill. The only ache I can't harbor keeping. The truth is, I've never heard my sister pray. but it's the only thing she does. In her silent ask, in her pleading back and forth, her bending teeth against all its padded walls. It's called Learning to Pray. And it's about my sister and how much I love her. But when she reads it, it'll probably make her mad. And don't we all have poems like that? Okay. I know where I'm going. We have a path. I have found a path. I am heading there. Thank you for being patient with me. How are we doing? In the chat, scale of 1 to 10. How are we doing today? 10 being fantastic, I'm coasting, and 1 being like, I want this already to be over. I want to go to bed. I want today to be done. You could just shout it out. 6.7, that's an honest answer. A 10, 7.5. I love this. I like this. Thank you for participating. I appreciate it. Oh, thanks, Mom. Thank you. I would say I'm like a 7. I've been on Zoom since 10 in the morning, and I have not had a break. So I am a 7. I had pizza. That's why I'm a 7. All right, here's my next poem. With that being said, welcome to this weird set that we are in, my friends. This is called Home Key, and I kind of want to give like a little bit of an intro to this because when I wrote this, I was in a relationship, and when I look back at writing this, usually, or not usually, but like if you're in like a nice, sustainable, healthy relationship, you write poems about being happy and in love, right? I would assume so. That's how that works. You're like, oh man, your hands, they're so pretty, right? I don't know. But if you're like, I guess, unhappy, at least in my case, I wrote a lot about what kind of love I wanted. And what I think about a lot now as like someone who looks back on these poems is like, it's when you're writing poems about longing and not belonging and you're in a relationship, it should have been a moment of pause for me. So I look at this poem and I love it so much, but I also find some sadness in it because I know that there was a very sad person hanging out here. Yeah. Sarah, I support writing poems about mayo is the shit. I love mayo. Everybody debate about it. I know it's a debatable thing to argue. All right, Hanalina, give me your judgment. I see it. So this is Home Key. I want to love someone with my father's eyes. Someone who looks like a cool bed after a long drunk night, floats along my skin like a northwest breeze waiting for the winter. I want to love someone who smells like clean laundry and a home-cooked meal after 9 p.m., a love that always turns the light off when I fall asleep, wipes as much makeup as they can off my face, moves the laptop from my side, pulls the sheets in, calls me home with their hips, their lips, the lock and key, their hands, their radiator AC, calls me home, and I become the child, racing in before sunset. I love that poem. Don't you ever like love your own poems? I'm vibing with my poems. I look back in this book because one of the best pieces of advice, and if you know me, you know I'm very self-conscious. So it's a very good feeling to have all these poems that like I'm just like, oh yeah, this is a banger. I can't decide what poems to do because I love all of them. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got while working on this book for all our beautiful writers out here is that it's not about, there is a story obviously to be told in a book, but there's also like, don't just put a poem in there just because you feel like it serves a story, right? Put poems in that you're proud of, right? Put poems in that you're proud of and that you know that like capture your writing in the moment that you are now. And that was a really, really good piece of advice for me and really narrowed down a lot of the poems that I had. Because this book was like 1,000,000 pages at a certain point. Yeah, so we're gonna move on. Ooh, this was per request. this is one of two contrapuntals in the book. Is it okay if I share my screen? Is that a strange way to engage with the audience, or am I allowed to do that? Cool, because I want you to see it while I read it. And you don't see my tabs. I won't be able to see the chat, but let me know if I'm doing something inappropriate. Okay, so this is called, can you see it? Can you see it? This is called Love Poem, after Kristen Chang, which, by the way, that poem's really good too. I look up our star signs, and your eyes christen me a holy place. Take down your hair, kiss me. Let us make home out of the coffee shop. Count the notches on our foreheads. You are becoming the hymn I find myself humming to, holding so tightly. I wish to trace our fault lines before we tonic on the couch. I time capsule this joy. I'm a cradled harp against your belly. I trace my feet on the porch of love and know love poems make sense now. The love poems make sense now. The love poems question, how long will this last? Carry this moment, please, like an offering around my neck. What if we made love? Could I have your Sundays, your softer hours, the eyelash on your chin? I confess, I want to know my way around your shadow, afraid of becoming an apparition who sits atop your nightstand every time. I pray, Lord, let me keep this hour a little longer. I wonder if this is a haunting or a home, a curse burning this midday meal. Remind myself how these keep me in your mouth a minute longer. I look up our star signs, and your eyes question, how long will this last? Carry this moment, please. Christen me a holy place. Take down your hair. Kiss me like an offering around my neck. What if we made love? Let us make a home out of the coffee shop. Count the notches on our foreheads. Could I have your Sundays, your softer hours, the eyelash on your chin? You are becoming the hymn I find myself humming to. I confess, I want to know my way around your shadow. Afraid of holding so tightly, I wish to trace our fault lines before becoming an apparition who sits atop your nightstand. Every time we tonic on the couch, I time capsule this joy. I pray, Lord, let me keep this hour a little longer. I wonder if I'm a cradled harp against your belly. I trace my feet on the porch of love and know this is a haunting or a home, a curse burning this midday meal. Remind myself how these love poems make sense now. These love poems make sense now. These love poems keep me in your mouth a minute longer. And that's love poem after Kristen Chang. It's just, I feel like it captures a lot of what you feel when you're in a relationship and you're just so anxious all the time. Yes, this one. Indeed, indubitably. Okay, I must continue on the trek. I know this is a lame way, but it really helps with segues. If anyone has a question they want to shout out while I find the next poem, that helps me because I am a slut for questions, like a total slut for questions. Like, it's true. So if you have a question, this is your time while I find the next poem. I love this. Okay, everyone wanted to get, how did you pick the title of my book? Oh, I love that question. So the title of the book is kind of an accumulation of many things. The title of the book's Birthday Girl. It was an accumulation of many things. So the title of it itself came up while I was like in the shower, and I was thinking just the term birthday girl, and how like when I was a little girl, my fun fact about myself was my birthday. Like that was my fun fact. I thought it was the most interesting shit ever. Like I was just like, everyone was like, when I would literally just walk around my own house being like June 30th, June 30th, June 30th. And it would be, that was my jam. And I thought a lot about how that really bold, loud person who really was like so happy that they were born, like slowly just kind of got really shy and quiet and self-conscious. And I really wanted to interrogate why that was. And I think there was a lot of reasons, right? And it was a whole journey to find Birthday Girl again. And especially because I really wanted it to be a celebration of girlhood and the girlhood that's in everybody. And so that's kind of where it started. And also, this actually, now I can read the poem that was another request because y'all wanted to get fucked up today. And you know what? We're here for it. Am I allowed to cuss this much? Because it's just who I am at this point. I know Hanalina was disappointed in that question. I saw more questions, so I'm gonna answer them as I go, which I high key love this format. So yeah, this is a really sad poem. All of these are gonna be sad. I'm gonna try to end on a hopeful note. I usually have a hopeful note at the end because I do have happiness in my heart. But yeah, y'all wanted love poems. Y'all wanted to get fucked up. This is what we're here about. Everybody, whatever. If you have water, a drink, take a drink. Cheers. Thank you. Yes. This is The Heart Has Four Cavities. I watch him leave. I watch him feather into some other sky. I watch him disappear into alcohol, maybe, into pencils, pens, school books, maybe, but the time and the 5 South melt us like a red popsicle on an August sidewalk, and I watch him come back, girlfriend in arm, 5 months later, and she is blonde with crooked teeth and hips I bet he dreams about. I watch them from a distance, through the hollow glow of someone else's Facebook or the ghost of my own Instagram feed. I watch him bring her home, meet his family, the ones who hated me and still my warm colors, my mother's shadbat tongue, my grandmother's hijab, the sumac spilling across my brother's jawline. I watch her get along with all his family. Shoots guns without a wince, without a hesitation, eats pork without flinching, never holding a lie between her teeth. I watch them travel, go to the Grand Canyon, to tropics, to weddings I wanted to attend. I watch them fall in love. Slowly, like a bee sting I grow allergic to, I feel his birthday pass like a hurricane pillaging through a nearby state. I sit in this throat-slit silence, ease myself into the murderous water. I watch years pass, the age and weight he gains between his frame. I imagine how her breasts must feel beneath the grip of his hands. I think of how they kiss, how their lovemaking sounds, her moans, the silent wail of a butterfly wing, and his once belonging to me. I've forgotten how he sounds. I watched them graduate yesterday among their family. And God, how I long to hate them, to cry, to stand among them, to hold his hand maybe. How how I long to prove I am still worth all this time. I know one day I will watch him propose, get married even, see her stomach balloon into a home, my casket, my heartbreak in utero, a love story I have no chapter in. I see her body billowing in flip-flops and sundresses I've longed to wear. I see her as I've always wanted to see myself. Normal, unbroken, a nurse, a wife, a mother. But this is not me. I do not belong here. Not with them or him anyways. And I still try to figure out why or why not or how or did any of us happen at all. That's The Heart Has Four Cavities. It's a very sad poem. The reason it's a really good segue for the title of the book is that person, that ex of mine, actually did end up getting engaged, and they did end up getting married, and they ended up getting married on my birthday. So yeah. I love seeing the reactions to that because it like really feeds my it just like fills my battery. Boo hiss. I love this so much. I just want to save this chat forever. But yes, let's do a little bit of a happier poem just so I can elevate the mood a little bit. Yes. This is not a love poem in a way, but again, all poems are love poems, so fight me to the death. Yeah. I don't know. Everybody has a very different relationship to their mother, or to their caregiver. And sometimes it's very fraught, and sometimes you have a really, really tough mother who, says don't cry, or you have someone in your life that says like crying is for bitches or whatever they say nowadays. You can tell I'm really trying to I'm getting it out of my system. Yeah, I know, Hanalina, I know. But yeah, I wanted to write. I guess like when I think about this poem now, this was like like a call to my mother, but I also think that this poem was an affirmation for me, right? And it also is, I think, a message I want to pass to my kids, which is something I think about more and more nowadays, not because I'm pregnant, but just because I'm just thinking about it. I just remember at Ugly Mug years ago, which, by the way, I have to tell you this thing. Oh, this is really cute. This is super cute. I know, Hanalina. I just look at you for reacting. On November 22nd, 2017, I released my chapbook, right? My chapbook called Here's My Business Card, which was a super DIY business card, and I released it at Ugly Mug. That day was the first time I ever dealt a really big feature, and I handed out roses. And one of the people I handed out roses was someone I ended up dating and falling in love with, and then breaking up with, and then falling in love with again. And on November 22nd, 2020, my partner Will proposed to me on the same day that he and I connected at Ugly Mug, because he said that was the first time he started falling for me. Which is I never told you guys that, but I wanted to share that because it's so gay. It's so gay. But yeah, he just happened to come to the event, and that was the first time all of those things coalesced, and it was super cute. Anyways, this is called Mama You Give. So all of these sad poems ended up okay. All right, so this is called Mama You Gave Birth to a Soft Girl. Mama, you gave birth to a soft girl. You bled your way through her, and she saw cherry wine, strawberry jam. Mama, You gave birth to a squishy girl, one who squirms, who overwhelms, who cries at series finales and harsh words. I know you wanted a brick girl with a backbone made of gold and a crown built in steel and rhinestone. You do not have this girl. You do not. I mourn her stillbirth too. Mama, you have a girl built of redwood seedling, of budding fleshy plants, small and flimsy, but very much alive, very much outgrowing every space. You have a girl who wilts in the wrong color of the sky, who soaks in the sun, cooling a home for the ones down below. Mama, you gave birth to a mother all your own. You wanted a daughter who was already skyline, but here I am. Just a blueprint, just another place waiting to be built up. You have a soft girl, Mama. Look at her. She's breathing. She's alive. Congratulations. She wants your arms, your arms, your arms, your underbrush, your riverbed, just as you found her in your womb, swimming, soft and growing, for your skin is her skin. She's a soft girl anyways. That's that poem. I don't know how many poems I have left. I think 2. God bless you, Benjamin. Thank you. I wanted to read one more sad poem. I don't feel sad anymore, so I don't really vibe with it. I'm not gonna read it. I'm just gonna read not sad poems now because I'm not vibing with it, because I just told you I'm engaged, so I don't really care anymore. Like, buy the book. Pussy takes herself out. She gets wined and dined and seduced on a casual Tuesday afternoon, and she is not surprised, bitch. I forgot it. Pussy goes out to a movie by herself, cries at all the sad scenes loudly, laughs a full belly laugh when she can. Pussy gets a wax. She's confused. Don't know why she needed this, but there she is, bald and naked on the table like a sashimi. Tonight she takes herself out to dinner. P.F. Chang's most likely. Flirts with the waiter, of course, she's hungry after all. Pussy has a drink and takes her hunger to go. She draws herself a warm bath. She thinks, sipping on her wine. To love yourself is a pleasure, an honor. What a gift you are to yourself, to have a body tethered to such a giving spirit. Gratitude. Oh, gratitude. I like that poem too. That's a good one. Usually, like at these features, like either Hanalina is interrupting or like Jonathan's coming in or Ellen's coming in. So I'm usually like really like used to like pausing and being like someone yelling at me for like being shy. Which I or like interrupting with like an anecdote, which I love. I feel so much family. Speaking of like getting married, we're trying to figure out a guest list for whenever we get married. It's in the distant future. And everyone's getting mad because I want to invite all my friends. I want to invite everybody, but I'm not allowed to. And I just think about it a lot because the people who are most my family are my community here. I would consider everybody here my family. And so it's very, very hard. Yes, Hanalita, that's exactly why they're arguing with me. Yeah, and so it's a struggle. But I want to see everybody dancing and having fun. Will can have some of us as his friends. Jonathan, indubitably, indeed. But yes, that's exactly it. All right, we have one more. Ooh, I'm super torn. No. I think I know what I want to do. So we talked about, I think, how did I know my book was finished? That was a really great question. I'll answer that as much as I can. I didn't. I had a deadline and I had to just be like, I'm done. I wrote, uh, I wrote the gratitude section and I was like, this book is done now because I wrote the gratitude section. So, I think it was because when I looked at the book and I realized I loved every poem in it. That there wasn't like a single poem that I like I was still iffy about. Every poem felt locked in, and I really meditated on it for a very long time. But in that vein of like a book and like editing, because I know that a lot of people think about manuscripts and sending stuff in and all those things, or going on that publishing journey, which by the way was not something that was part of my plan. So it was a huge learning experience for me. Was it's how to it's about editing because I think there's like a whole different when you know that your book's going to be out in the world, you really think about it differently because it's like adding to the collection of history that is literature. And you're like, I better not fuck this up. And I had a poem. I still, it's in the book, but it's very different from the way it was originally. It's called Welcome to Womanhood. And it was very much a very broad poem, right? Celebrating all the facets of womanhood. But it felt too much to playing into the binary, playing into stereotypes in a way, placing expectations on women. And it wasn't supposed to be that. It was actually supposed to be a poem where I silently came out. Um, a lot of a lot of my poems, I'm quietly coming out. So Home Key, I came out as queer in that poem because I don't use any gendered pronouns in there. But I don't say like I'm a queer baby. I'm just like, isn't it like it's just literally I use they. You don't know, bitch. Like, right? And Welcome to Womanhood, I wanted it to be a poem where I came out as something that was more than this. And I also wanted, and by doing that, I can't just make broad statements about women because women are people and they can be whatever they fucking want to be, right? And so what that meant was that I needed to approach it with more of a personal take on it rather than generalizing. And that was a really important note for editing, which I just want to share with you because I think that's a really helpful thing. I know I'm talking a lot. So this is my last poem. Thank you. I want to thank Ben, Hanalina, Steve. Thank you, Steve, for your messages. I'm sorry I didn't reply to them. Thank you, Ellen. I want to thank all of you for doing this. This is a very powerful thing. These open mics are havens for us right now. So I want to thank you for organizing them. And I want to thank everybody for spending time with me tonight. This is Welcome to Womanhood after a wonderful trans writer, Trace Peterson. I confess, I'm no longer just a girl, no longer just a woman or genitals or a face. Some days, my hoops are as big as my ego, my temper sharper than a cat eye. I make good tea and conversation out of a man's open mouth like honey off my lover's ring finger. I've been a sexless thing made of so many eyes for too long. And now I'm ready to be a dragon. I want to drift out of this old box phoenix, this dust into a sunset. I want to be a wolf, a bitch, a huma, carrying me to old age. This is girlhood remixed, buzzed heads and gapped teeth, chipped nails, and my grandmother's perfume. Gossip about boys with dull hair and unearned chins, girls with quick mouths and thumbs tucked in front pockets, because we know what that's about. Womanhood. This home I rest my head in, kiss the hands of those I call mother, sister, cousin, offer the fruit that blooms in my chest, this childhood bedroom where I learned to cut out every magazine clipping from its place, pasted new freckles, fresh uncut grass found, this wild chimera body, a collage I knew how to fasten in myself. This is womanhood, my girlhood resurrected, finger-painted blue, brave in orange glitter. I run through this meadow, moving joints as a broader-backed boy or girl or ghost or hypocrite. This is still my firmer heart and porous skin. In this home, I receive myself. In this tender body made of fuller calves, wide hips, and acne that stayed. I claim myself. I reclaim myself. Fashion myself anew. Welcome to womanhood, making vibrant soft, and soft in vibrant making. Thank you.